Live from Harbor Station, it's the Vector Spaceman Show. Now here's your host, Vector Spaceman.
It's Wednesday, January 4th, 2023. Welcome, Space Cadets. It's the first show of the new year, a time for cheer. Thank you so much, everybody. Kieran, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. The gang's all here, as it were. I'm Vector Spaceman. This is the Vector Spaceman Show. We're back in studio right now. And we are joined tonight by my fellow space-themed streamer, frequent collaborator, longtime friend of the show, Mr. Dregn Durant. Happy New Year, sir. How are you doing?
Hey, let's go.
There he is. Got no audio there for a second. How are we doing, Dregn?
Doing well. How's everybody doing?
Seems we're doing okay. Is he there yet? No, we got him on the mic. He's coming through loud and clear. You let us know if there's any problems, Kieran. Space cadets out there.
Why do I appear to be stuck?
That's a good question. Let's investigate on this lovely first stream of 2023.
My augments working? My augments are messing up. What the heck?
It's probably... There he is.
Hey, there we go. Hey, everybody. Did I drink glue? Yeah,
drink
it's the
glue.
Industrial stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How's everyone doing? Happy New Year, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed the holidays and the new year and 2023.
Let's go, though. Now, here's what's going to happen. Let's see if we drag this over here. Okay, now we can probably see Dregn all of the time. There we go. And he's got his helmet off. He's looking fancy.
Hey.
It's the first show of the new year, you guys. Spectacular, and we're so pleased to be joined by Dregn Durant. You know, Dregn, we have just passed a milestone, you and I. I don't know if you're aware of it.
Oh?
It's something I was just reminded of recently, in fact. Which is that you and I had our very first co-streaming event just over 1 year ago now. Our co-hosting, co-streaming anniversary, if you will.
Has it been already?
It's been a year. Can you believe it?
Yeah. Was this the once upon a time fabled Team Fortress 2 collaboration?
I was about to ask if you could recall what it was. But yes, that's true. It was a Team Fortress 2 little co-stream that we did on December 22nd, 2021. Just over a year now.
Such a good time. Who would have thought one of my first collaborations was going to be Team Fortress 2?
Right?
Not only that, but I was completely full. I was like, oh man, Team Fortress 2, it still holds up. It's still a great game. And then we did it a second time a while later, and it was just all bots, but I don't remember the first time being like that. What happened to it?
It's been pretty consistent for like the last, I don't know, 6, 8, 10 years, whatever it's been. Just full of bots, but still full of the same good old-fashioned gameplay that we've come to enjoy.
It was a good time. It's always a good time.
Always a good time. I'm seeing more action in the chat here. Let's take a gander at who's showing up tonight. Zenobia, it's nice to see you. Oh dear, just realized it's been a year since the last stream I've seen of you. Can you believe it, Dregn? It's been a year since Zenobia's seen us here on the show.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Meg, what a throwback. Yes, indeed. Good old TF2. Nice to see everybody tonight. I hope everybody's New Year's celebrations and holidays and what have you were nice and pleasant, gentle, enjoyable. Dregn, did you get up to anything over the holidays? Anything fun? Anything cool?
Over the holidays? Well, Christmas is the time for family, for me at least. So we got to see some family, which is always a good time. Got to see my little niece, which is, she's adorable.
Aww.
Yeah. She's all running around. She knows my name now, so it hits different.
Must be very young then.
Oh yeah, I think she just turned 3, so still very, very, very up and coming.
Aww.
Yep. And New Year's we didn't really do a whole lot. The changing of the times is just another day for me these days, but we did get around to, I don't know, something about going into the new year. I think I have found a little bit of inspiration for what I want to do on my channel. So yeah, the new year we were grinding away, getting ready for launching a new series on our own channel. So it's been interesting.
Excellent. You have to tell the folks more about it. Well, for me, we spent our Christmas with the Vector Space fam, as we tend to. Didn't do a whole lot of traveling this year, which was nice. I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of people got snowed in this year, those who experienced snow. Yeah. There were some big storms around Christmas times, and so it disrupted a lot of travel plans for folks, and that affected some of our space fam a little bit, but we still managed to enjoy the holiday as best we could. And then, of course, New Year's comes around, and we like to get together with friends and what have you, ring in the new year. So, yeah, we had a nice little New Year's celebration. And here we are. We're back at it again. It's a brand new year, a brand new week, a brand new show. Same old spaceman.
Beautiful. Yeah, we love that.
How's
everyone else's holidays been? Yeah, what did you guys do? Did you get any fun gifts? Did you blow up any fireworks? Did you destroy any warehouses?
Indeed. Tell us about it in the chat. Yeah. Now, you mentioned fireworks. I think you brought that up before. Is that something that tends to be more common where you're at? New Year's fireworks? Because around here, it's usually too cold for people to want to be outside letting off fireworks at all.
Fair point. No, I live in I guess it's already out there. I live on the West Coast in the States, so it's relatively cozy out here, even if it's chilly in the winter. But no, my neighborhood, there's a few folks who like to set off the fireworks, but it's always fun because, well, it's a fireworks, right? I lived in the time when fireworks were a thing. It's nowadays, if you pop one of those off, you hear sirens soon after, right?
Mm-hmm. Comments coming in here. Speaking of snow, you hear about Jeremy Renner. Of course, this just happened in the last couple of days. You keep up with this, Dragon? Superhero news?
I am not familiar about it. Tell me about it.
Jeremy Renner, the actor who plays Hawkeye in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And, of course, he's got other roles, of course. Hurt Locker, Wind River, that sort of thing. Very, very nice actor. Crushed under a snowmobile. Not a snowmobile, a snowplow, if you can believe it. Even worse.
A freak snowplow accident.
A freak snowplow accident. You rarely hear about those.
Yeah.
As ridiculous as it sounds, still intensely grim. I believe he's undergoing some sort of intensive surgery, and I don't know if they're expecting him to make a recovery or what the current situation is. But yes, that was on the news recently. We did catch wind of that, as it were.
Fun. I remember. Well, I guess no. I'm gonna save it. I was about to do a typical Dragon segue to something completely unrelated. But yeah, that's wild, man. What a way to spend the holidays, right? Jeez.
Mm-hmm. Under the wheels and blades of a snow plow. I keep wanting to say snowmobile.
Mm-hmm.
Corey Ojo up in the chat. How are you doing, Raccoon Queen? Hey, Space Gang. Hope you're all chilling. You know what? I feel like we are chilling.
Cool, yeah, words. Corey, aren't you streaming right now? I thought I was just there.
That's multitasking. If Corey's pulling that off.
Yeah. Man. Or is this one of your raccoon gremlins running around?
Or worker bees, as it were.
Worker bees.
Let's do a big shout out to Corey Ojo for a second here, you guys. / shout out. If you happen to catch Corey's streams recently, she was actually playing a really cool game, Donut County, the other day. You were watching that as well, weren't you, Dragon?
Oh yeah, it was such a good time. I usually just pop in, say hi, see what people are up to, and man, I think I was there for the entire stream, just being like, "What is this game? This is hilarious."
It was a super fun time. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Corey's a fun time anyway, so go check her out.
Always a fun time. Now, speaking of 2022 stuff and tragedies, if we might segue off the back of Zenovia's comment there, Dragon. Every year, of course, we feel heavy losses throughout the world. I want to do something here, Dragon. I want to give you the opportunity to do a 2022 celebrity death ranking rapid fire. We're going to list off names of folks who we've lost this year, and we want you to give you a quick X out of 10 in terms of your recollections of these individuals who have changed the world, shaped the world over the past year.
This is going to be difficult. I am all right. Well, I mean, let's find out what happens.
Let's give it a shot. See how cultured Dragon truly is.
Oh, I'm really not.
Lovely folks, so we've said goodbye to in the year 2022 as we move into 2023, Dragon. Number 1, Sidney Poitier.
Don't know him.
Don't know Sidney Poitier?
I mean, maybe if I saw something they were in, I would, but...
Academy Award-winning actor.
Nope.
Caribbean American. Guess who's coming to dinner?
Not ringing a bell. No.
Very cultured Dregn Durant. Moving on.
So
Mr.
cultured.
Bob Saget, perhaps.
Bob Saget's gone? Damn. Okay, I know that name.
What do you give Bob Saget on the out of 10 rating for our 2022 deaths? We're going to go rapid here.
What's good, what's bad, what's top, what's down, what's
Yeah, don't even think about it.
The world's gonna be fine.
Ray Liotta.
I don't know that one.
Ray Liotta?
I mean, what were they in?
Henry Hill? Goodfellas?
Oh, Goodfellas. Okay. I mean.
Next up, Kazuki Takahashi.
Kazuki Takahashi. What were they involved in?
They were the creator of the Yu-Gi-Oh series.
Oh, wow.
Died tragically, drowning, trying to save some other scuba divers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think he was that old.
No, it was an accidental passing.
Damn. Well, that's a shame. He will be remembered. I guess Exodia finally got him.
Ooh, that's grim. Shadow Realm, people.
Yep.
Up next on the list, Gallagher.
Gallagher. What?
Surely we know who Gallagher is.
Yeah, what would I say about Gallagher, though? How did they go?
Unfortunately, not under a giant mallet, which would have been incredibly appropriate.
Yeah. They were the comedian, right?
Yeah, comedian, sort of social commentary sort of thing, and then, crush a watermelon with a giant hammer.
Yeah, I hope he's laughing all the way to where he is now.
Up next, James Caan.
James Caan. I feel like I should know this one, though, but I don't.
James Caan from The Godfather, Sonny, the dad in Elf, and...
Oh, yeah, okay, it's coming to me. Yeah, this one I'll give a rip.
Proving, folks, that Dragon doesn't really seem to know much.
I'm horrible with pop culture. I am horrible with it. If you ever, there's always those trivia games where you get around with people and it's like, let's do pop culture trivia. I'm like, I'm gonna get a drink.
We'll keep it running. Next up, Shinzo Abe.
Shinzo Abe's gone. Oh, that's right. Yeah. We know Abe. That was a surprise, I think, to a lot of people. So
I should expect so. Yeah, that was kind of an unusual one, given the kind of restrictions that you see in Japan.
I give him an I know him out of 10. Thank you, Meg. You understand me.
Wolfgang Petersen, our next on the list.
Wolfgang.
German director, known for such films as Das Boot.
Yeah, no, I know Das Boot. But yeah, what happened to him? Was it just age or?
Just old, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's a show to remember and good times.
A film. But we'll give it to him. Next up, Louis Anderson.
Louis Anderson, another one I feel like I should know.
American comedian. Large fella. Had an animated show for a while.
Which animated show?
It was called something to do with his name. Something Louis. Louis Anderson cartoon. It was Life with Louis. There you go. Oh my goodness gracious, Dragon, look what just happened. Look who just showed up. It's the Nova Swarm coming in to mark 13 months. We're past the 1 year mark, and you're absolutely right. 13 months of Space Ace certification. Hello, Ellie, one presumes. Welcome to the show. We're in studio with Dragon tonight, chit-chatting about 2022 and 2023. It is our first show of the new year, of course. We're just passing the time, catching up with folks. I hope you had a lovely holiday and new year as well. Let us know if you've got any resolutions or goals for this new year. We've been talking about different stuff. How you guys doing?
Right now,
we're doing just fine.
Yeah, we're hanging. Vector's schooling me on my lack of pop culture knowledge.
We're quizzing Dragon on folks we've lost in the year 2022, and if he recalls any of them. And so far, I think he might be one or two on the whole list.
I'd say one or two. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's the circle of life, everybody.
Indeed,
Pay
indeed.
Our respects.
Moving on, next one on our list, Gilbert Gottfried.
Wait, he's gone now?
The voice of cartoon parrot Iago. Cartoon duck
I know
Affleck.
Godfrey is. Yep, that's Squeaky Man.
That's Squeaky Man.
I guess Affleck. All right. Yeah. His voice is too iconic not to know.
It's too iconic. Kieran's right. Yes, his voice incredibly iconic. Next one on the list, Mikhail Gorbachev.
Don't know that name off the top of my head.
Former leader of the Soviet Union.
Oh, well, of course I wouldn't know him.
Here's one a little closer to home, Kevin Conroy. This one was in the news quite recently.
Don't know it.
Don't know that one. The voice behind the animated Batman series.
Yeah, voice actors, man, they get, you either know them or you don't. And unfortunately, I came into the scene very late, so nope.
Like most things we're discovering, for Dragon, it's you either know him or you don't.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I would think that's a normal human experience. You either do or you don't.
Well, here's one that's more within both of our wheelhouses. Nichelle Nichols.
I know this person, but what were they in?
Star Trek.
Yeah.
The original series.
Yeah. She's old.
Lady.
Right? Yeah. Wow, I didn't.
Who might that be?
Born back in 32. Wow.
Oh, you Googling it?
Well, yeah, because I'm a visual learner. So
no, okay.
I have to see their faces, Vector. I wish you gave me the list ahead of time.
Well, no, that's the fun of it.
Yeah, I'd like to use one of my
your lifelines, your phone a friend?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let me phone a friend here.
Yes, of course, the actress who played Uhura on the original Star Trek series, all the way back in forever ago.
I feel like she's lived a good life, though.
Yes, an iconic one.
Yeah.
Up next on our list, Queen Elizabeth II, Big Liz.
Yeah, I mean, long live the Queen, I guess.
Not so relevant to Americans, I suppose.
Well, it's the whole royal family deal is a bit of a strange occurrence for me to look at and be like, they're still doing that, huh?
They are still doing that.
Yeah.
Technically, also the royal family of Canada, let's not forget.
Is it official?
It is official. Yes, the King George, as it were, is... Oh, actually, you know what? We might be in a bit of a limbo state right now, where it hasn't been rightly done, because I'm not sure if they've done an official coronation. But in time, will be declared as the official head of state for Canada.
Yep,
as his mother was.
The only royal family stuff I watch is like controversies and
there's plenty of those. Yep, especially with her passing and who might likely be taking her place. Ooh, a little intrigue, you say? There's
some very interesting stories about what he's involved in.
There was actually a stage play, which was later adapted into a film called King George III, which was written and performed before the passing of Queen Elizabeth, years before, which was a fictional telling of what might occur in the days after the Queen's death and the ascension of King Charles and what have you. Oh, sorry, it was called King Charles III. Yes, obviously. King Charles III. And in that narrative, it followed the idea that instead of going straight to King Charles, that they might pass over it and go to Prince William, if I'm recalling correctly, the elder son.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that news, but that would be an interesting move. I guess.
Well, it is fictional, of course, but it's something that plays more to popular sentiment.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a more appropriate course of action if they pass along this. I mean, how old is he? I guess he's like 372 because he lives forever.
In royal years, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, actually, he must be getting up there. If his mother was almost 90, I think, or around there, then he would have been... Right now, he's got to be approaching 70 if he's not already. Which, conceivably, maybe he's got a few years left in him, but at the same time, yeah, you might think that a younger candidate might be more suitable, but that's just not how they do things over there, Dregn. It's all about primogeniture.
Yeah. I mean, if you say so. And it looks like you're actually very close. He's 37 from the looks of it.
He's 37? Is that what you just said?
Or not, that's not 37, 73.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I'm using the reverse royal years.
Yes, of course. The imperial system, people. Yes.
The imperial system.
Not our metric royal years.
Yeah, we're using monarch metrics here.
Ellie's saying, I have a family member that would talk nonstop about the royal family. Yeah, it always seems like if you're in a Commonwealth country, you've got at least one family member who's very invested in the royals, just as an onlooker sort of capacity.
Yeah, is it good feedback, or is it like just they won't stop?
I think it's almost like a living soap opera sort of thing. You know, it's something to watch, something to take in. Some people just like the pageantry of it all. You know, the romanticism of it. I'm actually a big fan of the series The Crown, which is more of a biographic.
That was about the Queen, right? Yeah.
That one follows the Queen's life, yeah. So I think it's got 1 or 2 more seasons in it. I think they're going to end it before the death of Queen Elizabeth, within the narrative, is the idea. But yeah, I've been following that one for years. Like, I just really like the drama, the intrigue, especially the outfits, the locations, the sets, because of course they film on a lot of royal locations as well, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, there's too many shows out there, unfortunately, for my taste.
Too many shows.
I've kind of checked out a lot of it. I actually don't have Netflix. I don't have Disney. I don't have Hulu. I don't have any of that. I'm too busy watching streamers now.
True. Excellent takeaway. Too many shows. Ellie's saying, yeah, it's more like repeating what she hears off the news. Yeah, see, I get that. Some people are just really invested in, following it. It's like any celebrity gossip, really, when you think about it.
Really? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Pick up a new magazine cover. Tabloids, all that. Yep. Mm-hmm. They're
always showing up. Next on our list, Coolio. We lost Coolio this year, Dregn. Coolio.
Was he a rapper? I forget.
Gangster's Paradise.
Yeah.
Fantastic Voyage.
Was he old? I don't recall.
Also a California boy.
Yeah, that's probably the only reason why I know, because people out here used to talk about him. Yeah. Not
Coolio, says Set. Yes, regrettably, we lost our man Coolio. Pour one out for the homie.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, Set. Hope you're having a nice evening. Welcome to the first show of 2023. A little laid-back catch-up stream with our co-host Dregn here.
Yeah, reminiscing. Blasting off.
Mm-hmm. We're reminding Dregn of all the folks we lost this year, trying to see if he remembers any of them. It's been an interesting look into the mind of a spaceman.
Nope. Brain runs a little slow after cryo. You know how.
You know how it is. Gotta get those processors back up and running.
Exactly.
Next on our list, Aaron Carter.
Aaron Carter, another name I know.
I know, right? Aaron Carter was the brother of Nick Carter, member of the Backstreet Boys, and had his own little recording career for a while there. I actually remember I had an Aaron Carter CD when I was very young. It was purchased for me, I'm sure. So I don't think I've ever actually bought a CD in my life. But yeah.
Did you make any your own mixtapes?
I did used to make CD mixtapes and what have you.
Hell yeah. I feel like we all went through that phase, or at least our generation did.
Yep. But yeah, I got into doing that right around the time when, you remember Napster, Dregn?
Napster. Here's the funny story about me and music once upon a time. So I was a big weeb growing up because I had access to that culture early on before it became super mainstream in the West. And my musical taste all up until probably university was all just Japanese music. So honestly, my pop culture, even for music, is going to be pretty horrendous.
Up next on our list, Robbie Coltrane. I'd be surprised if you recognize this one, Dregn.
Another name that sounds familiar.
Another actor. A British actor, though.
Yeah, but what was he in? Wasn't he...
It would be a dead giveaway if I told you. Like his most iconic role.
Yeah, I think I already found it. He was Hagrid, right?
He was Hagrid, that's right.
Yeah. Damn. Well, now you can be a real wizard.
You could be a real wizard.
Well, rip to him. He played Hagrid so well.
Rip to Big Bobby.
Yeah.
And getting very near the end of our list, the end of the year losses. Who's this? Oh, Barbara Walters, another American.
Barbara Walters, if I'm not mistaken, she probably deserved it.
Journalist.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Who are you thinking of?
I might be thinking about a different Barbara, but yeah, don't recall what her works were.
And the last one on our list, Pope Benedict XVI.
I heard about this one the other day. That actually caught me off guard. I was like, wait, the Pope's...
Pope Emeritus, I guess, if we want to be specific.
Yeah. Well, being a very unreligious fellow myself, I hope he got what he wanted.
We'll chalk that one up onto the list. Dregn Durant hates all Irish people and also all Catholics.
Ooh, man, you just there's just two buckets. Dregn likes, Dregn hates with a passion.
We're gonna have all of Ireland coming after you.
Oh boy. Can't do it though. I got Irish blood in me. I mean,
that's never stopped an Irishman from coming after an Irishman, Dregn.
That's fair. But we just got a little brawl, and then we'll be friends after.
There you go.
Or something.
You go grab a Guinness.
Let's do it. Yeah, boyo.
Fantastic. That's our list of celebrity deaths for the year 2022. We can jump into 2023 nice and fresh.
Let's go.
And start losing a whole new batch of folks.
As we do every year.
All of whom Dregn is not likely to recognize or remember.
Nope.
Not at all.
Not at all. If I'm not personally invested, it's likely to go right over my head. Yep.
We're just too busy. We got our own stuff going on.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, Dregn, let's start talking about stuff we've got planned for this new year, because I know you're into some fun new endeavors already.
Oh yeah, I'm in the water with sharks.
Is that right? Well, why don't you tell the folks about it?
Yeah, so moving into 2023, I came from the technology world, and we're moving into 2023 looking at AI tools, software, resources, and in particular how they relate to the creative world, right? So we know it's a very controversial topic. A lot of artists are up in arms about it, but equally,
I'd say that's a fair assessment.
Yep. But also, I guess unsurprisingly, about half the people that I've spoken to about it, I would say, are interested and are testing and playing with it. So as much as there's a large group of people who are against AI, there's also, I would argue, roughly about half of artists who are likely supporting it in their own way, right? Or at least curious and have their eye on it in a neutral to positive way. So I have, with my past experience, AI has always been there. I'd argue it's been around for about 4 to 6 years already, right, in the tech world. So AI is not new to me, and the people in the tech world didn't really have any complaints about AI. So now that we're seeing all the controversy in the creative world, I'm like, you know what? this actually works well for me because my lore has a little AI stuff going on with it. My interests align a little bit with some AI stuff, and being a streamer slash VTuber at the moment, as we all are, trying to explore the space, I figure it's an avenue that I would be very interested to explore. And we've already actually started. We talked about it on our first stream yesterday, talking about our plans and what's upcoming, and then earlier today, or no, I'm getting my times all mixed up. Yesterday and today, yeah, we started exploring AI and AI art and AI music and AI writing, and we're sharing our thoughts. We're sharing the pros and cons. We're sharing kind of the ethical challenges with it, and I invite you all to join me for that conversation sometime.
We'll do a little shout out to Dragon's channel since we got this integrated command now.
Let's go.
No, we did happen to catch one of your streams the other day, yesterday in fact, while you were working on your sort of total AI generative project, as it were. Because that's right, you're trying to incorporate text generation and image generation and music generation all into one sort of unified package. Is that not correct?
Basically, yeah, the whole idea here is like, hey, how do we use these tools, one, to make like original concept, but also to what degree is it ethical, right? And I think the main line that needs to get drawn is that the individual leveraging the tool for like monetary gain when the source material is questionable, I think is a big gray area that some people are taking advantage of. Whether that's ethically correct or not is up for debate. But then there's also the technology behind the tool, and it's an unavoidable future. So I find that the best way to bring attention to it is to talk about it, right? And bring awareness to it, but also make our voice about what we agree and what we don't agree with heard and known. And the interesting thing about the internet and the future of all of our lives is that our opinions that we put out in videos are basically going to be there forever. So I'm putting my foot down. I'm sharing my thoughts with it. I'm exploring it to give people an idea of what's going on. And I'm not going to try to hide behind, the gray area. I'm trying to be as transparent with my thoughts about it as possible. So that's the goal. We're going to explore it. And it has me excited for the year.
Now, your endeavors into this also aren't commercial. I suppose that could be said.
Yeah, the only commercial thing potentially would be if my YouTube were to start monetizing, right? That would be more for discussion purposes, which I feel my usage of it is within the realm of fair game, much as it would be if I went to Google and started talking about the image search results on Google, for example. I don't feel like my activity with the AI tools varies too far from that.
Well, that's one way of looking at it, I suppose. Now, obviously, with the AI generative algorithms, you're taking how would you say? You're taking a bit more of an active participation role in refining those algorithms when you do use their software, because I've seen some of the streams that you've been doing now with is it the Midjourney image AI that you're using?
Yep. That is definitely one that we're primarily taking a closer look at. And yeah, I had commented about this. I really wish the tools would actually tell you, like, or at least give you like a spread of what images they are kind of referencing from or sort of pulling from the blend, which currently these tools don't do it. But I mean, I don't see how difficult it would be for the AI tool to also include, hey, these are the 10, 20, 30 images that we had sourced to create this blended image, and based on our algorithm, fine tune. I don't know why they don't do that.
Well, I imagine it's not quite as simple as that, but I get what you're going for, that you'd like to see some sort of node tree of iterative generative images that have led to the final result, sort of thing.
Exactly. And I'm a big supporter of human works, right? I voiced this actually in my comments in the last two videos that I've done, talking about how it is precious, the creative journey that an artist goes through. And one of my favorite things, seeing artists that I find that I'm interested in or I enjoy their style, is seeing the evolution of their work over the year, right? And AI art obviously is going to have some limitations where, hey, if I want, say, a front character view, a back character view, a character spread, which I did a sample of, and to show the limitations there, you have to go to a person, right? And not to mention it support the creators. Obviously, you want to support the creators. But I do find that AI used for the purpose of reference building or for the purpose of, say, like D&D campaigns that are privately held where you need to get an image like on the fly, I feel that there are appropriate uses of it. Now, I know from the creative side, there are a lot of artists that are up in arms about the sourcing of potentially their material, but that is something that I think needs, again, more awareness and more regulation. And ignoring it, I don't think is going to get the results that we're looking for. It's just going to remove people from having their opinion impact the direction of the AI and the AI growth, especially when it goes into the world of creatives, right? So,
well, I'll tell you where that perspective comes from, Dregn, from the artist side. So let's imagine that you're using Midjourney, and we'll use this specific example because I've seen you use it on some of your streams. So you'll put a prompt into the to be generated, and it'll give you a selection of lower resolution samples that you can then choose to, they use the term up-res or refine to...
essentially fine-tuning it.
To fine-tune, right. Now, when you're doing that, effectively what you're doing is you're taking a role in further refining the image generation process. Because what you're doing is you're telling Midjourney, okay, this is what I consider to be the best of these samples that you've produced, and it's going to analyze that for why that might be the case. And it's going to use that information to create further images down the line. So you're taking an image that has been generated, and it's effectively becoming a sample that will be used to generate further images. So you've got images that are generating off of generated images, and it becomes recursive, and it starts to learn that way. And so I think even hobbyist AI enthusiasts, or AI imaging enthusiasts rather, they definitely do have a role in, I guess, if we might be dramatic, in sharpening this blade that's at the neck of creatives, if you will.
Yep. Mm-hmm. You're not entirely wrong, but what's the solution that we're all looking to see reached, right? Because complaining at the top of a mountain can only reach so many people, right? is I know kind of a unrespected opinion in the creative world, but at the same time, I know there's been a couple of large artists, for example, who actually had made videos and talked about their opinions about AI. I do know that different platforms, right, that are artists in particular, I think, what was it? Was it DeviantArt was one good example? Or maybe it was ArtStation.
ArtStation, I believe.
Yeah, so they had started to look into like introducing like AI-based tooling, but obviously a place like ArtStation, I would imagine, would be sourcing from their user base, and obviously their user base has a say to what the platform that they all support and use, what direction they're going to go in, right? The challenge that I have here with AI and the opinion that we should not use it and ignore it is that anyone in the Western world that says that is forgetting that there is a massive, massive Eastern audience that is going to further the advancement of AI to begin with. So I think, again, the bringing it to the forefront and talking about it is required, because at least you can say that you tried. Whereas ignoring it, again, I firmly believe that ignoring it and saying that I don't support it and never talking about it again is just going to remove your opinion from the end product, right? At least that's where I'm coming from.
Well, I don't know that I've seen people stating that that it ought to be ignored, especially the people who are more vocally against it as an emergent technology. I think their position is that, well, as you might have said there, that it needs to be more regulated, especially when it comes to commercial endeavors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, one of the things you brought up earlier, this idea of, tracing source content or something like that, that would probably go a long way to, I suppose, making it easier to identify artwork that is being, or generated artwork that is being used inappropriately for commercial use. But at the same time, I think the biggest issue is that, and I believe I said this before on your little discussion in the past,
yeah,
is that over the past few months even, it has really taken off, AI generated art, to the point that it becomes a lot less work to take a generated image and clean it up, sometimes not even by that much, and obfuscate its origins to the point that you can get away with, passing it off as original work.
Well, if I'm not mistaken,
that's just a scummy move, and I think we all agree on that.
Well, you have to also consider, like, current laws. I believe if you modify 60% of the work, it's considered original, even from like a plagiarism perspective, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if there's different rules for words.
I don't know about that, no.
Maybe Canada's different, but I believe the laws in the US is about 60% change in product to be able to claim some degree of not copyright, but to be exempt from copyright claim. So there's definitely, again, some attention that needs to be put around it. But yeah, I don't know. The whole point of me starting the series is, one, to try to explore ways that it will be used, ways that it can be used, and have the conversation around the ethics around it, and try to focus a little bit on that gray area and find out what people believe and what direction they believe it should go. So one thing I had posted on my Twitter is starting next week, I'm going to be putting out an application form to allow creatives, writers, musicians, whoever's interested, really, as long as they are some sort of an online personality to some degree, to join me for one of these episodes and have that conversation, maybe in a similar format to this, but a little bit more for my channel's style, right? Mm-hmm. But it is definitely, I think, a conversation that should not be a clear yes or no, like against, like I don't like this culture of picking one side, and if you're not on the same side, it's just the other side is invalid. We see between the pandemic and the previous years that the ability to have civil discourse seems to be at risk. And I personally love debate and love civil discourse. So that's the type of environment that I'm welcoming people to.
Well, I do think that you will quickly find people's opinions. I think people are pretty quick to give their opinions when it comes to stuff like this, as you continue on with this.
I have already felt it.
Mm-hmm. But no, I do think that you ought to know that, from a creative standpoint, you probably will get a bit of backlash, even as a experimenter, if you will, even as a non-commercial user of AI software, just because continuing to use these free training models, as it were, does perpetuate, increasing this beast, this digital behemoth that's ever encroaching.
Oh, I'm well aware, and the digital community is a very vocal community. So, if you want to leave a comment, I welcome you to do so. But I challenge you to join me for a one-on-one conversation about it. So, yeah.
And you know what? It is an interesting topic. Why don't we open up the lines if anybody listening in tonight wants to voice their opinion on Dregn's latest undertaking, his latest little digital adventure, or any of the other stuff that we're talking about tonight. We're going to open up the Harbor Station Space Line Discord. Remember, you can join that, and you can get yourself up on the air if you'd like to voice your opinion. We'll put you right up on the screen to have a little chit-chat with Spaceman and his co-host.
You got to make sure you put the link in there, too. There's the link,
everybody. Got to put the link in there. There we go.
Make sure you join. Yeah, come find me. 1v1 me, bro.
1v1 me on the internet.
But again, here's the thing, right? I do think that as much as there are creatives who are against it, there are far too many people in the technical world and the non-creative world who are diving into it. So again, I want to bring awareness to it. I want to make sure that we're doing it in as ethical of a way possible. Yes, we might be advancing the intelligence of these tools, but whether I'm involved in or not it's going to happen. So I would much rather input what I hope to be a positive input to the growth of it.
Well, it will continue. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But at the same time, I don't think there's any shame in railing against the inevitable. That seems like a very human experience. So I gotta say I'm sympathetic to all the people who are staunchly against this sort of thing.
Actually, here I'll talk about an example too. So in the past year, right, my model is as we know from Vector Special is half the man that he should be. And I gotta say, after my little experimentation, I think I have some inspiration for the direction if I ever go for a 2.0.
Is that right?
Obviously, if I go for a 2.0, you bet your ass I'm going to be looking at artists to, flesh out the concept spread. I'm going to be looking at a rigger because, again, I'm a non-creative. So I am definitely going to be looking at creatives to flesh out a project that the reference was built using AI. It would be very little difference from an artist perspective if I had provided 10 images that are, Google produced versus 10 images that were AI produced. The end product is going to be human supported. And I think that's the way that AI should evolve, at least in the creative sphere. At least that's how I feel right now.
It'd be funny. It'd be really funny.
What's that?
Well, here's the thing is that within Live 2D, and we've experimented with this before with like the mini Vector Spaceman hand puppet and the Vector Spaceman helmet that moves around and stuff like that. So items within VTube Studio can be attached to models and still have motion and physics and things like that. Wouldn't it be funny if we tried to teach you how to use Live 2D to make your own legs in the interim, just to use for the meantime, and just staple them to your torso?
I've thought about it, but I think because I am a YouTuber, or at least an aspiring YouTuber, it's a little less important because the end result on YouTube is just purely content is king.
They don't see his legs.
They don't need to see my legs, which was my intention from the beginning, and then Vector came along and exposed me.
Ellie thinks it's a good idea. Stapled legs, yeah. We just teach Dregn how to do some really basic Live 2D stuff. He makes his own legs. We just slap them on there. Wouldn't that make things easier?
Oh man, I'll just be jingling around. My legs will be dangling everywhere. I could even
dangling. We could have physics so that they just wave around in the wind.
Yeah, actually, if you guys recall, I had your little NefQuest image, right? I had taken that and I had actually broken it up and made it a slightly, movable animated figure.
Oh, I think I do remember that. Yes.
Yeah, I did Nef with Caramel dancing, and then I also did her like at a rave. I think it was the movements for. So I could always, find some images of a leg, break it up, make my, give it some joints. That's not a bad idea. Sure,
Bust it up.
Yep. I swing my legs back and forth.
He swing his legs back and forth. That's a good idea. Yeah. We'll have it done in time for the next special. Dragon's wiggly, wobbly, wavy legs.
Stop giving Vector ideas, guys. He's already done me dirty.
Every time we got to find new ways to exploit Dragon's leglessness for the good of the show, for the good of the joke.
Man, just wait. They'll be coming in from the east. Oh, it's Legolas.
Legoless. All right, so that's going to be for our Lord of the Rings parody show. Absolutely.
Oh,
Dregn playing Legoless.
There we go.
Keep the ideas coming, folks. Indeed, Meg. Yep, we're full of them. We're full of it tonight. Full of something.
Regional will be providing us his axe. We got who's going to be Gandalf? I don't know.
That's a good question. Here you go. Who do we cast in our Lord of the Rings reimagining special stream?
Yeah. Who do we know?
Well, first of all, who's the main character of the Lord of the Rings? You got to have your Frodo and your Sam.
Well, I feel like, I feel like Nef would make a good Frodo.
Nef would make a good Frodo. Kind-hearted Frodo. Kind-hearted, uncorruptible Frodo.
Nef is Saruman. Yeah. Well, that's an idea.
The White Wizard.
Yeah.
Or she could be Gandalf's horse. Whatever works.
Oh, you know what? She'll be an orc coming out of the rock.
Yeah, an orc. Nef gets to be every orc.
All right. Thanks for everyone joining our Vector Spaceman 4.0 Lord of the Rings special roundtable planning session.
Mm-hmm. our table read.
There we go.
Dregn, did you have a favorite orc from Lord of the Rings?
A A favorite orc? No, they're all the same.
They're not all the same. What are you talking about? Who doesn't have a favorite orc?
Listen, I don't know what it is about me. I am so bad with the individual, but the completed work as a whole is where my heart goes to.
When's the last time you watched Lord of the Rings?
That's a good question. It's probably that is a great question. It's been a while. It's been a good while.
So not even within the last year is what you're telling me.
Nope. I don't have any sort of like broadcasting outside of YouTube and Twitch at the moment. And
doesn't
like
take in any media whatsoever.
Nope.
Goodness gracious.
Am I really that? I don't know what to say about that.
I'm sure that's a question I've asked before. Do you have a favorite orc? It's just there's so many of them and they're so great. That film is just chock full of great characters. Next question: do you watch Lord of the Rings or Lord of the Rings? Sorry, what is Meg trying to say?
Lord of the Rings or Lord of the Rings?
I'm trying to decipher what Meg's getting at. I want to be on your team here, Meg, but I need a bit more context.
Set. It has nothing to do with that. Okay, it's just the wave of orcs.
I think he's onto something.
They are a singular body.
Oh, I see what Meg's getting at. Regular versus extended edition Dregn.
Wait, there's a regular edition?
There's a theatrical edition, and then there's the extended edition.
Oh, come on. We all know the extended edition is where it's at.
It's where it's at, people. It's where it's at.
Where it's at.
There's only one way to watch Lord of the Rings.
Well, Vector, I'm going to flip it around. What's your favorite orc?
My favorite orc is the one from the Battle of Pelennor Fields who rocks up with the lance, and he's got a neck beard, and he goes... Everybody knows that one.
Except for this guy.
Except for you, apparently. Jeez.
Apparently. Oh, man, I'm so un-orc cultured.
Viewers in the chat, let me know if you know who I'm talking about. The orc with the neck beard.
Do they, though? Do they, though?
They must. And if they don't, then they will be educated.
They will be educated. Ooh, just like...
they simply must go to school. Yep. Meg says, I like the one they birth from the goo and slap a white handprint on his face. That's not even... First of all, that's not even orc. That's an urukai. Come on. Get your lore right. And not only that, that's a named character. That's Lurtz.
Yeah, I feel like I couldn't use that guy. I figured that's not the direction you were going with.
You didn't think that.
Actually, you know what? I do like the big, was it the ogre? The one with the little bat cage that he's running around the club? Which
bat cage
was he in? Not bat.
You're talking about the cave troll?
Was it the cave? No, not the one in the dungeon. Or not the one in the, that's Harry Potter.
Troll in the dungeon!
Troll! Yeah. No, there was, during the siege, wasn't there big, like, trolls that had containers on their backs? Am I misremembering that they were throwing like they were acting as catapults? I'm gonna have to go rewatch it. When are we doing the?
I think there were some that were like loading catapults at the back lines, and that was the siege of Osgiliath, right?
Listen, it's been years since I've enjoyed a good film.
And they are good films, people. Let's be clear.
Great films. Yeah, they're great films. I misspoke.
Speaking of fantasy stuff, and I know that you admitted at this point that you don't watch fictional media outside of streams at this point, but I actually started watching a show over the holiday break, which I usually don't get the opportunity to do because I've been so busy as of late, making specials, making cool stuff. It takes a toll on a person. But I actually got to start watching the House of the Dragon. You heard of that one?
The Game of Thrones series, right?
Well, here's the thing. They don't even call it like Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. They just call it House of the Dragon. Just because I think Game of Thrones as a brand has
a reputation.
Yeah, it's got a reputation after its main series. Man, but I started watching it, and it's criminally good. Criminally good. Oh, yeah.
Okay. What are they on? Is that HBO?
It is on the internet, where I watch all of my things.
I see. Quote unquote.
Oh, Meg knows what I'm talking about. Great series. Big Vector dub. It's because it's focused on the Targaryen line. Yeah, so it takes place 100 years and change before the main series. So you don't have to worry about knowing any characters. And it's got a pretty fast pace. It jumps from year to year pretty quick. And it's all about, history of that mythical world. without all
Very
the
cool.
baggage of, made up seasons past the, published works.
See, this is why I need folks like our wonderful Zenobia Noether to be getting on that bandwagon to make 5-minute review videos of movies that she watches, because I know she watches them movies all the time, and her little shorts have been fun to watch.
You just want it all explained to you in a very, very fast, digestible form.
Well, listen, I mean, do I watch 2 hours of a VTuber, or do I watch 2 hours of YouTube content, or do I watch 2 hours of a film that people talk about for a week? I don't know.
You know what? I got to admit, though, even though I'm watching the show, even though it's a great show, I'm watching it at like 1.25 speed. I've gotten into the habit of like everything that I'm watching nowadays, watching it at like 1.25 or 1.5 speed, just to, especially if it's a long series, just because I can still understand everything that's happening at that speed. I feel like it doesn't detract, and eventually you just like your brain catches up to it. You don't even feel like it's running too fast for you, and you just get more show for your time.
Well, make sure you slow down in other parts of your life, because that will affect your head in time.
Nah, we'll be fine.
We'll be fine.
We'll be fine. Come on.
A couple months later, Vector's just zipping around, zooming everywhere, talking double
everything's
speed.
too slow. I'm moving like the Flash here.
Yeah. Well, hey, everybody, why are you talking so slow? Come on, we gotta speed up. We gotta go.
Pick it up.
Neff, come on, we're playing Helldivers. Neff, why are you in the back of the line? Let's go. Come on.
Pick it up, people. Oh, Meg says, me, who has the whole entire Targaryen lore book on the shelf / on Audible. Yeah, so because it's not like a completely made up series either. It's all based on like appendices type work. Like imagine if they took like the Lord of the Rings Silmarillion and turned it into a series or something like that. But I think it's a little more detailed than that.
Interesting. I will say I was watching and listening to more back when I was, one, working, but also two, I was traveling through the work, right? So when I'm on a plane, I'd be listening to audiobooks. When I'm stuck in a hotel, I'd be watching, episodes. But now that we're looking to, learn more than consume, I think this is one of the realizations of why I also stopped
learning's
watching.
so hard.
Learning's not hard. Give me a break. You're doing it all the time. Come on, please. We got to encourage that stuff. But yeah, I think there was a point in my life in the past 2 years where I was like, when did I become such a consumer and not a learner or a creator or something a doer? Let's call it a doer, right? So I think one of the reasons why I even entered the VTubing world and I'm trying all this out is because I realized that, oh man, I have fallen for the corporate trap of being nothing more than a consumer in the evenings and a cog in the wheel in the daytime, and I got really sick of it. So,
well, listen, if you're going to do that, at least have the decency to pirate your material. Come on.
Pirate my material. Listen, back then, we were living pretty comfortably, so it wasn't an issue to, support the corporate
big
overlords.
Money dragon over here.
So much lore. There's so much lore everywhere. There's too much lore. I need these films and these games to slow down and come back to like making quality good things that take twice the time to make. But you know what? It doesn't meet the stakeholders' expectations, so we can't have that.
Well, here's a question, Dragon.
What's up?
What do you think's your preferred medium of media to consume then? I shouldn't say consume, but to enjoy.
These days, I'd I guess put it under the umbrella of independent content creators.
Or sorry, I mean medium specifically in the terms of book, film, game, that sort of thing.
Independent content creators.
That doesn't mean anything. All right, if the independent content creator is making a book version of their story, or a film version of their story, or a game version of their story,
format.
It would be what? Sorry,
video content. Yeah.
So film or TV show sort of thing.
Film or TV show sort of thing. Yeah, I saw this great series recently called the Vector Spaceman Special. It was fantastic.
Ooh, tell me more.
There's 3 episodes. Yeah, I think they had done a Halloween version. There was a Christmas episode. It was a great time. Yeah,
well, that sounds very impressive.
Absolutely. I think there's a YouTube. What was it? YouTube at Vector_Spaceman, I think is the channel it's on. You should go check it out.
Maybe some people should go check that out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, that's the one. There it is.
You didn't. You updated my link, but you haven't updated.
Oh,
your
I didn't
link.
update my own. That's odd. You know what? I think it's because I usually just use this command, which shows the there it is, the Twitter and the YouTube.
You gotta bang the spaceman.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, so for those that are in who know code, exclamation point often is referred to as bang.
Ah, I see.
I've gotten in the habit of calling it that.
We're learning things tonight, folks. We're learning things about Dregn.
We're learning things. Bang spaceman.
Bang Spaceman, you guys.
Bang spaceman. Let's go. I can't. All right. Hell yeah.
This guy.
But yeah, definitely video content is what I consume. Yeah, Vector, what about you? You still doing... I mean, I know you're a big advocate of film and that type of media content, but
I do love film.
Yeah, you a big book person?
You know what? I enjoy books.
Yeah? And just an enjoyer, though?
I'm just an enjoyer, though. Yeah, I'm not like a book club type of person. I'm not like a Audible type of person. Like, I don't listen to audiobooks on trips like Meg was talking about or anything like that. But every now and then, if there's a good book, unfortunately, there's not like a big series that I'm into or anything right now. So there's nothing that really can steal my focus away from doing stuff for streaming. That's kind of been the focus as of late, as you might recall.
Yeah.
Plus, books are hard work. You got to read stuff. You got to imagine things. You know, sometimes you just watch a TV show. It does all the work for you.
Yeah, that's true, but actually my favorite part of reading a book, which again I'm out of the habit for years now that I'm doing I'm trying to figure out what content actually means.
Dregn hasn't read in years.
Yeah, one could say I hate books.
One could say, yeah, like the Irish and Catholics, he hates books as well.
Why do you do this to me, Vector? But my favorite thing with books is much like D&D. And you know what? D&D probably has replaced books for me.
Hold that thought, Dregn, because we're getting a little show raid here. Hello, raiders who are coming in with Madame Corey Ojo. Welcome to the Spaceman Show. This is Vector Spaceman. I am the host of the Vector Spaceman Show. And of course, I'm joined right here by my lovely co-host, Mr. Dregn Durant, who's in studio with us tonight to talk 2022, 2023, plans, goals, dreams, what have you. Corey, how are you doing? Thanks again for tuning in. D&D's nuts.
Yeah.
So I guess they caught the tail end of your discussion there, Dregn. Hello, everybody. Is this a lost ark? Yes, indeed. The radio arc, the podcast arc, with Dregn here in studio. We're talking all sorts of stuff tonight. Two cool people in the same room. Oh, thank you so much. Cineroll, nice to see you. Perhaps you've not seen the podcast studio as of late. Yes, we've made some upgrades. We've made some changes. We're welcoming guests onto the show. We zip around. We change camera angles. We do all sorts of stuff. Lots of fun. Thanks for joining us tonight. Is this where we get a refund on our Corey coins? Yes, indeed. Ooh, all you have to do is follow Vector Spaceman right here on Twitch, and why not on Twitter and YouTube as well. And we will begin processing your refund for your Corey coins and convert them into cadet credits, where you can spend them on all sorts of fun stuff here on the Vector Spaceman Show. Yeah. Thank you, Kieran. Thank you. Our message has been delivered. Our message has been received. I think Kieran is intent on blowing out all of his cadet credits. We'll just let him run that for a second. What is the conversion rate today? It's not great, Ellie. Unfortunately, like all things Canadian, our exchange rate is taking a bit of a hit. Back to 71 points. Don't worry, Kieran. You just keep at it. You keep that economy flowing, sir.
But we love Corey's channel. You know, it's a honkin' good time.
It's a honkin' good time. It's a raccoon, kraken, goose, honkin' good time. I felt that, Vector. So that's something maybe I should... That's another thing I wanted to talk about, but I'll save that until you've completed your thought there, Dregn. I'm sorry that I derailed you there for a moment.
No, we gotta shout out our raiders. Come on, we know how it is out here.
We know how it is out here. We gotta respect Corey. Not that anybody isn't already following Corey Ojo, but we'll go ahead and we'll do another shout out, you guys. Make sure that you're following our favorite ice princess. Now, where were you? We were discussing mediums of media, and you were bringing up what sounded like a discussion of the tabletop variety.
Before I get into that, is it my imagination, or is there something white covering the top part of your chat window?
Covering the top part of my chat
window?
Yeah,
like the what are you talking about?
Oh, you know what? That happens sometimes for whatever reason. And it moves with the messages.
Oh,
some of them will just get covered up by something. It's got to be the chat integration. There's some issue with it.
Could be that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, noted. Yeah. So what was I saying? So yeah, audiobooks. I went on a train of thought that got derailed, as my thoughts usually do, and I think I had said that D&D may have replaced the time I used to spend reading books, because I was originally going to say that my favorite thing about reading a novel is I like to get my mind gets very immersed in whatever I'm involved in from like a story perspective. Like I love the storytelling.
This kid's got an imagination or something.
Exactly. I love imagination. Come on, bring out the child in
imagination.
Imagination. Exactly. So when I would read a lot of like literature RPGs, I love those. I can't like go back and recall it, but while you're reading, right, you kind of have this emotion or vibe or imagery in your brain that kind of sets the scene of what you're reading, right? So I've realized that D&D is like the immersive, you're in the story version of reading, or at least that's the vibe I get from it, right? So that's why when I play D&D with folks offline, or I try to get in character, I try to hype everyone up to be in character, because I enjoy that old school vibe of back when you were a kid playing with lightsabers or whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'd say the more active nature of D&D has kind of taken the place, and seeing the stories that the GM creates, or trying to create my own through D&D is where it's at, right? Plus you get to hang out with friends. The old couch co-op days are kind of sort of dead, so D&D's kind of taken over as a replacement for that, I feel like. Plus streaming and collaborations, of course. But
well, it is kind of like one of those old choose your own adventure books in a sense. But you got to do a lot more work. You got to roll dice, and you got to say stuff, and you got to make decisions.
I love this guy. Thank you, man. I love you too. We don't know each other yet, but soon.
Nomadic Carmine saying, that's why I like to DM. I love getting everyone hyped for the story I'm bringing to the table. Dregn, you and I are both experienced dungeon masters or game masters or storytellers, if you like. Do you think you prefer playing or running games?
I feel like I'm a bit better at running games just because of my how do I phrase this in a non-insulting personal way? It's I'm very cut and dry, and I like to mediate. So player drama, I usually stamp that out right away. Encouraging players to get in character, I find to be a lot easier to do as the GM. I like working with players to build like their character and flesh it out, because so many times I run into a game and the character's like, "Who are you?" "I'm a barbarian." "What do you do?" "I smash things." "What else?" "There's more." So I actually work with like the players in my Sunday game to flesh out some backstory and try to work out some ideas. I do enjoy playing as a player, but I do find also it's a lot easier to run the game, because there's a lot of risks with the type of people you play when you do pickup groups. And I grew up with the very manipulative, controlling parents, so I probably have some subconscious control freak nature in me.
My. So you like making calls?
I do like making the calls, so being able to run the campaign and have the players enjoy it, I think, is a bit more satisfying to me. Just a nature of product of my past, I suppose. Yeah, D&D is a fun time. It's a great time. If you haven't done it, go check it out. And also, I appreciate the VTubing world, because I'd say there's a very good piece of the VTuber pie that is also into D&D, because I don't know.
I think so. As a sort of character medium, you'd expect there to be some crossover there.
Exactly.
Azabiel popping in to say it's the best time, some say.
Well, that's expected from someone who runs games professionally.
Now, did you kind of get steamrolled into your position as a game runner, Dregn?
I will say that within my group of IRL friends, if I did not run the game, there would be no game.
I feel the same. Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as the internet goes, I have actually made, I would argue, some lifelong friends that I've known for a good 4 to 5 years now. I forget exactly how long it's been. But yeah, D&D opened up a floodgate of interaction and meeting new people. And in my case, I've managed to stay in touch with a few good ones. And I feel like a lot of that happens with VTubing and to a certain degree streaming as well. So yeah, it's a great time. I love it. I love the interaction and meeting people. So it's good.
The internet, Space Cadets, not just a place for weirdos, also a place for lifelong friends.
There we go. Let's go.
The more you know.
The more you know. Yeah, what about you, Vector? I know you're an old school D&D version player. You got into it way before I did. I got into D&D, I think it was in 2016, something like that, where just after the 5th edition had exploded, that is kind of where I started approaching it.
Well, I don't think that the fact that I remember 4th edition should be taken as an indication that I'm some old school gamer. But yes, for the most part, we played older editions, the tail end of 3.5 and most of 4th edition. 5th edition just did not strike me as complex and as intriguing, and I think mostly that had to do with the fact that it was very new at the time that I was playing. So gotcha. There were not as many, options for character building and for, feats and actions and things like that. Mm-hmm. Whereas at the time, games like 3rd edition and 4th edition, they were fully fleshed out. They were complete, out of the box, ready to go. You could do all sorts of cool stuff with them. And I think really, that's what a role-playing game is. It's a rule set for character creation and conflict resolution. And so you'd want to go with the one that's got, a better suite of tools. And at the time, 5th edition just didn't have that for us.
Yeah. Speaking of D&D, and this is kind of a similar parallel, a bit of a Dragon segue, if you may. I'm surprised that a lot of VTubers don't actually do like Tabletop Simulator and do like board game nights, because I feel like there's a lot of VTuber channels who go for the kind of couch co-op vibe, but collaborations obviously are the people who are invited to the couch. But it's always games. I don't think I've personally seen too many people exploring, like board game nights online.
Well, games are easy, but also I think you got to have like a NASA supercomputer to run a lot of stuff on Tabletop Simulator and run VTube Studio concurrently. Oh, unfortunately,
is it heavy?
It's not the most optimized program, unfortunately. No.
Gotcha. Well, that's what D&D is there for.
But actually, we've seen folks like Isabiel, who's up here in the chat. He's done games for us in the past on not quite Tabletop Simulator, but other online, interfaces. Those have always been cool. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I definitely agree that having that sort of visual board game that you can look down on and see all the pieces, everything going on at once, would definitely be a very cool experience.
Heck yeah. Meg, all my board games. I feel that one. I had a phase where it was around the time I discovered Kickstarter, when Kickstarter was a big deal years ago. And I got so hard into board games, I actually flew halfway across the country to something called Gen Con.
Oh, we know Gen Con, sure.
Indianapolis. Yeah, you guys probably know. It's probably kind of sort of close to where you are, but yeah, it was. This was also around the time where I would go to different conventions. So there's a few that happen out here in California that were always a good time. And man, there's a lot of weirdos, much like there are in VTubing, but
it's unavoidable. It just happens.
It is, but the common interest is, I think, like a good icebreaker, right? To be like, hey, you like board games, I like board games. There's a friendship there just with that alone, right? And while you're at the event, you can put differences aside and enjoy what we're all here to enjoy. At least that's the take I have with a lot of
We're all here to eat dice. We all got the same goals in mind.
There we go. Eat my nat 20, fool. Ah, shit.
Scrolling through some of the comments here, and I'll forward some of these questions to you as well, Dragon. Nomadic Carmine asked, Vector, how do you feel about the new D&D 1, or whatever they are calling it? So, I am not terribly old, but I am old enough to remember the transition between 4th and 5th edition when they were talking about something called D&D Next, which was the sort of code name before everybody just universally agreed that this was what we are calling 5th edition. And I remember hearing a lot of the same things at the time. This is going to be a version of the game that is backwards compatible with all other previous entries in the series, and you can pick and choose whatever you like out of it, but ultimately it just became its own standalone version. And I would not be surprised if that becomes the case again with D&D 1, that it just turns into what we know as 6th edition, or at the very least 5.5, if you will. You know what? I really should give 5th edition more of a chance nowadays, because it's been almost a decade since it's come out. I'm sure it's chock full of character options and feats and fun stuff to do, and it's just so ubiquitous within the tabletop gaming scene, as it were, that I'm sure I'd probably enjoy it if I gave it more of a chance nowadays.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. I don't really have anything in particular to say about D&D 1 or 4 or Next or any of that, but what I will say is I think I have a huge appreciation for 5th edition just because of how vague it can be, if that makes sense. I think there's a better term for it, but what I've learned is I love homebrew games. Almost every game that I've run and almost every game that I prefer to join is homebrewed. Right?
They're simply better.
They're simply better. You can have more fun with it. It really showcases the GM's creativity, which I'm a big fan of exploring and experiencing, right? So what I like about 5th edition is there's a lot of people who kind of follow 5th edition in the sense of these are the rules, right? Which, yeah, they're rules, but if you treat the rules more like guidelines, and this is what I do in my Sunday campaign, is I've taken the D&D rules as a guideline, as a baseline, and just re-flavored everything to be science fiction, and have encouraged the players to be like, hey, you have a spell, and one of my players, he's a cleric. He has changed his healing word to a little healing, like, injector ray gun type of a deal, right, for example. And it's a lot of fun to explore the kind of creativity of the players to be like, hey, how would you reflavor spells if we play in a world where spells don't exist? How would you turn it into technology? How would you handle your current features? And how would you reflavor them in the world of science sci-fi versus, say, traditional high fantasy, right?
That's useful.
Yeah. So I've been fortunate to have at least one person tell me that, hey, your take on the rules have actually inspired me to just play around and reflavor and explore a world using the rule set as, again, a guide rail, if anything, but being able to explore a much wider range of kind of creative freedom. So, give it a try sometime, just be like, hey, this spell, I mean, I guess some GMs do reflavor spells, right? Like Fireball. Maybe if the character's not a fire affinity, maybe you could be like it's a ball of electricity. You just change the damage value. But I've gone a step further and be like, bows, crossbows, these are going to be transformed into firearms. We're going to have like ammo types depending on maybe the type of projectile object it is. And it's been a lot of fun to kind of explore and evolve with the players. And it gives me as a GM a good reason to interact closely with players. So that kind of collaboration is something I'm big about.
And as long as everyone's on the same page, it's not like you can play the game wrong, really.
Exactly, because ultimately the game is still played with role-playing in mind, and then with combat and decision-making, it's really all influenced by dice results, right? As far as that, everything else is flexible as far as I'm concerned. Well,
I'll tell you, that's sort of one of the things that I really loved about the old 4th edition, and I'll always use the opportunity to speak the strengths of 4th edition to folks who might not know about it, is that it was so, how would you say it? It was so transparent with its mechanics in terms of being a game, in terms of laying out, all right, here is, requirements for effects and damage and types and keywords all laid out. It was so bare all of the time that, lore implications or anything behind it were usually a secondary concern, that it was so easy to, retool for your own needs if you wanted to switch something up to be, science fiction or low fantasy or space wizardry or whatever the case might be. Yeah, you could tool it around however you wanted. Real easy to do, real easy to run.
I do find that there's definitely a difference also with the player and also with GMs, where some lean in the kind of more creative storytelling, role-playing aspect, and then some really just enjoy the kind of gameplay mechanics of the game, right? Mm-hmm. Where combat, I kind of look at is like the board gaming element of the role-playing kind of imaginative game that D&D can be. So yeah, definitely. I can see the struggles with each side, right? But I think 5th edition really gives, once you figure it out, the flexibility just to kind of do whatever you want, which is, I think, what's great about it, with myself at least being kind of a filthy casual in many things.
That's one way of looking at it, I suppose.
Yeah, but Vector, actually thinking back at it, back when Galaxy Jamwich had run a little campaign for a bunch of us, it was a lot of fun playing with you. I feel like we should do it again sometime.
We should do it again sometime. It's always fun to do.
Vector Spiceman, right?
I played Victor Spaceman. That's right.
Victor Spiceman. That's what it was.
Adventuring chef.
Exactly. You tried to monetize. What was it? Goddess bathwater.
Of course, you can't let something like that go to waste.
Oh yeah, got to capitalize on the opportunity.
Capitalize. You gotta. Yep. It's all about being enterprising.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Jammy's game, though? Oh, you know what? I got it mixed up with Azabil's games. Azabil runs games as well, but I couldn't recall whether he was just a player or if he was running that one.
Well, regardless,
apologies.
There's a lot of D&D folks out there.
And so many skilled D&D folks out there.
Absolutely.
Circling back to some of these comments here. And Azabil saying, I wouldn't be in this cool spacey VTuber space if not for TTRPGs. Let's go.
That's where it all begins.
Seems like we got a lot of support for the idea of tabletop simulator D&D. I'm sure there's a lot of people who'd love to see that. Or, it'd be even more fun. I'll tell you what would be even more fun, Dregn.
Yeah, what's that? What's that? Tell me.
Doing a D&D VTuber stream set up like this. With the desk. With the screen. With the different camera angles. With everybody seated around the table. I'm sure we can make something like that work. Ooh, maybe we could even go for rotating screens as well. All the different characters. And then we could whip up some sort of rotating table. So we zoom around. We sort of switch perspectives. I'm sure I could whip that up. That would be fun. That would be real fun.
That would be a lot of fun. I agree. But also, you know what's hilarious? I chuckle at this because I was thinking about it in the past week. VTubers go through so much extra effort that streamers don't have to do.
This is so true. I've said it before. Yeah. Like, if you're thinking about getting into streaming, virtual streaming, VTubing, if you will.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're confident enough in your broadcasting ability that, you're going to get a sizable following anyways, just skip it. Go straight to, just live streaming. It's so much easier not having to worry about, background scenery and transitions and models and, little artificial like screens and overlays and things like that. Like just go for the face. It's fine. It's fine.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, look at all the effort Vector put in. He's so animated. He's so
Look
funny.
at all the effort we put in. And for what?
You can smack him in the back of the head and he bobble like a bobblehead. But look at me. For what, though? Because it's awesome. Please. You know exactly why.
Well, this is true. We can't deny that.
It's awesome. It's always fun to see. At least I appreciate it because, again, the technical side of it fascinates me, and also the weebdom fascinates me, which is why I'm here. But,
Oh, of course.
The weebdom.
As says, I get around all the difficulty of the hard work by just not doing it. So that's another thing you could do. Just be a PNG tuber. They're super fun. They're super fine. There's nothing wrong with them. Just be a little bouncy animated PNG. Nobody's going to mind. It's a perfect way to get into it.
I feel like we had this conversation back when we first did one of these little Vector Spaceman Experience podcast shows. But yeah, my advice to anyone looking to get into it, one is just to do it. You don't even have to have a PNG. You don't even have to live stream. You could just stream whatever you want to share, because you have to get used to, at minimum, the ability to not shut up, right? Which
True,
is
true.
Tricky for some people, especially if you're not used to being in front of people and talking, which fortunately I have just through the business world that I came from. And then you sound like you have, I don't know, maybe I don't recall off the top of my head, but you have that production kind of radio host kind of vibe, and I think you capitalize on it
thank you.
super, super well. And then you also, so one, you don't even need to have a visual, but also knowing what I know, and it's funny because I don't know how you and I had become close in any capacity, but you and I started the same way. We kind of just both were like, we get the model, we go live, we're a VTuber, go, right? We skipped so many steps that we see the VTubers take nowadays. And knowing what I know now, I probably would have started with a PNG, and I would have probably done with the release of the ability to do like animated PNGs on screen, right? Much like our good buddy Hero King Soul and a few others do. I would have probably just gone that route. I feel like there's so many creative things you can do with PNGs and like animated PNGs, and being able to just hotkey swap based on like the vibe and the emotion. And a lot of PNG tubers are really creative with how they kind of show their stream, right? One that comes to mind for me in particular is Raycall, who does a lot of music production.
Oh, like we know Raycall. That's right.
Yeah, their stream, Raycall's just in the corner, bopping around, floating around. It reminds me of the old Papa the Rappa days, but also, but also their overlay is very. It almost looks like a mobile game, if that makes any sense. So, you know, you can be really creative without diving into this animated 3D live 2D model. Like, there's so many ways you could have started, and I didn't really understand that until I got into the space. And sometimes you just don't until you get into it, right? But yeah, try it out.
All right, hold that thought, Dragon. We're on an ad at the moment. We're going to be right back, folks.
An ad? How dare.
We're back, folks. Little unscheduled ad there. Sorry about that. You know how it be. This Twitch deal. Hello, Pilot Plays Games. Nice to see you tonight. Really enjoying the setup you run here, Vector. Well, thanks so much. I'd like to introduce you to our co-host for this evening, Mr. Dregn Durant. Say hello, Dregn.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Dregn. And we're in studio tonight talking the new year, new projects, new ambitions, stuff we've gotten in store for the coming year. Of course, both of us going into our second year of streaming. Now, Dregn, actually, you started a little bit after I did, but around the same time. But we're past your 1 year mark now as well, aren't we? We must be.
We are. I'm trying to remember. Did I do like an anniversary? I don't think I did.
I can't recall you doing anything special for it, which is a little unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate, but you know, we enjoy our time in different ways by trying to get people together. And my head is swirling. It's a wild cosmos of ideas that I need to reel in to to try to create an environment where there's a community that I would love to support and find ways to support. So
indeed, of course.
Hopefully we'll find some traction for that in this coming year. But yeah, November 20th of 21 is, I believe, my first time pushing the live button in any capacity.
That was it.
It's been a good time.
All right. And of course, Dregn there referring to the Project Hive Core initiative, which he, of course, spearheading, trying to bring together all sorts of talented, independent content creators. And we've seen good work over the past, I would say, few months that it's really been
put out
most
there,
active,
officially.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We don't have like a YouTube page. I'm still debating, right? Like, does it make sense to have people go to a central YouTube page for Project Hivecore? Or do we really want to just make it a community that supports the individual's channels, right? There's that struggle that I have in my head. We do have a Twitter, but I was thinking the other day, and I joked offline with a few others that, man, until I started streaming and VTubing, I was off social media. Coming from security and tech, I knew better than to get onto social media.
You know what? It was the same thing for me. Yeah, I never used stuff like Twitter beforehand.
Yep. So Twitter has been an interesting, and though we do have a Hivecore Twitter account now, it's something that being, again, only like a little over a year into social media, do struggle to figure out like how I want to advertise. So I suppose an advertisement to anyone in the Space Gang or anyone who's a
Space Gang,
be as part of Space Gang. Hell yeah! If you at Project Hivecore, I will make an announcement for that at. Is I think one thing I will do. Yes, but it is definitely a challenge for me being outside of the space, coming into this and being like, you get to be the social media manager now. I'm like, Mm-hmm. So it has been a fun experiment, but it's also Project Hivecore. Also, the dream for it is to make an org/company out of it, and coming from being a worker to now trying to entrepreneurialize this endeavor is something that is easier said than done. And I've looked at a lot of content when it comes to how successful individuals have built a business or have built a brand, and they all talk concepts, which I'm well aware of concepts, but what they don't talk about are steps that need to happen in a particular order, the type of people that you need to acquire. At least it's been a challenge for me to figure out the, I guess, delegation side of how to handle this and grow it, because I do firmly believe that a team working together is obviously going to be a much stronger bond than a series of individuals loosely connected, right? Which is why we have so much respect for our good buddies over at Nova Swarm, who are a close-knit trio of VTubers working on the same
Most
channel.
Definitely. Apes together strong, as they say.
Exactly. So it is an endeavor. It is something that I do still plan to try to push and support and try to grow. But I am, I think, accepting the reality of the difficulties doing such a thing when you have little to no experience going into such a dark forest for the first time.
Well, it's a learning experience then, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think I've also resigned myself off from the streaming perspective to just be like, why don't I just share my opinion? Why don't I just be transparent with my thoughts? I mean, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, I mean, you're going to go watch other people anyways, right? So I think into 2023, you're going to hear me just ramble about things more than I already do.
Tell them why you're mad, son. Tell them why you're mad.
Tell them why you're mad. Yeah. I got opinions, damn it. Listen to me. Come on.
Now, speaking of Nova Swarm, whom, of course, everybody should be checking out, Ellie in the chat saying, I'm going to at Project Hivecore for the legs I'm making you real quick. Dregn.
Oh, no.
We're going to get those staple legs, those wibbly-wobbly staple legs. Awesome.
Vector,
awesome. It's about time.
Do you still have the image of your of the spread you had from your first special on hand by chance?
Oh, I'm sure I do, but you know, we don't have the tablet in this screen.
Ah, that's a shame.
It's a shame.
Well, if you guys haven't seen it, go check out Vector's YouTube. There is his what was it? Your 2.0 special, I believe.
Oh, during the 2.0 special? Yeah, that was back in the summertime in August.
Yeah. You'll get to see Vector's creative animation work, but also you get to see a large variety of legs that he has provided me.
Well, you also get to see the Halloween special and the Christmas special. You can catch out all of the wonderful Vector Spaceman animated content made so special, of course, by friends of the show who appear in our little skits, including, of course, Mr. Dregn Durant.
Exactly. Very talented, very fun to watch, always entertaining.
Very talented.
Good throwbacks to very old jokes and fun times. So yeah,
we love jokes and fun times.
It's worth the watch.
Well worth the watch. I'm trying to pull up a video at the moment, Dregn, that we might enjoy together.
Oh, a video of something related to this conversation?
Well, related to a conversation that we had earlier in the show, yes. Let me see if I can get it going here. because I think it's a moment where we need to educate you, Dragon.
Oh, please teach me.
You need to be shown. You need to be shown what's what. You need to be educated. And so for that reason, let me just get everything set up here. And I think, oh no, this is probably going to disable your motion again, isn't it? Let's see if this works. All right, we're gonna blow this up. And here's what we're gonna do. And this is actually a pretty cool feature that we have on the show here now, you guys. Check this out. So here's what we're gonna do. Dragon is unfortunately a little frozen at the moment.
Wait, unfreeze me a sec so I'm not just looking into the depths of the void.
There, we should be able to see you now. Oh, there you put your helmet on. Great.
Yeah. There we go. Now
if we had one more screen. All right, we're gonna have to get this fixed for future shows, I think. But check this out. We're gonna go from Dragon. We're gonna zip. Check this out. We're gonna go zoop, 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 zoop. Oh, what's that? We're zipping right up to the screen there. What's going on here?
Whoa.
And what are we doing?
Oh, let's go. We got some Rogan.
We can look at stuff here.
Inspiration.
We can look at stuff on our screen.
This guy, yeah.
Now that's not the guy, Dragon. That's not the guy.
Is he coming up?
Oh, he's coming up. All right. So this is the Battle of Pelennor Fields, Dragon. This is the big fight at the end of the third film, The Return of the King. And, you know, that's King Theoden, and that's all great. And he does his big speech. Stay with me, Mary. All that. All right, here. This is the important part. All right. Orcs are coming up. Here they go. They're charging.
Coming up.
But that's the... Oh, did you see him there?
Oh, the guy in the front?
That's the guy. That's the guy, Dragon. That's the orc.
Pause it. I'm on delay.
That's the orc with the neck beard, with the pike, who comes up and he's like, "Roar!" That's my guy. Let's show him again.
I see it. You gotta pause. Man.
One more time. Let's see him.
Okay, what's the name of the actor that played him?
I have no idea. I don't even know if that's a character with a proper name or what. That is my favorite orc, Dragon.
You right, Seth. They don't look alike. You're right.
They don't look alike at all. What are you talking about?
But see, in those moments, I'm looking at the horde. I'm appreciating the people, not the individual.
Of course.
All right.
He's a man of the people.
All right, good. I'm alive. Let's take.
I love this functionality now. We can actually zip zoom. Whoop. We can go up to the screen. We can zip zoom right up. Zoop. We can show stuff on the screen. We can go from one of these close-ups up to the screen. Zoop. We can fade back to the whoop. That didn't work. We can zoom. Oh no, that didn't work at all. But we can zip zoom. We've got so many.
Vector, I do this all the time on my.
Oh, look at that. We fade out nice and smooth like that.
You got to slow down.
We
OBS
just
doesn't like
back to the
quick
TV.
swaps.
We can zip right back out like that.
Look at that. Vector's having so much fun right now.
We're having so much fun with it.
It is very fun though.
Man, now that's all I'm gonna see, says Kieran. Everybody should have a favorite orc, I think.
Well, next time, or I guess first time we do a big group watch.
Or watch along.
Pick our favorite orc.
Right.
We'll have to all pick our favorite orcs, and then we're gonna reenact the scene, and we're all gonna voice over.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's a good idea. That's for the Lord of the Ring Vector special.
Mm-hmm. Let us know in the comments, who's your favorite orc? That was right back to the start of the show, but I had to get that video up there.
Yep, it was bugging Vector. He's like, I can't believe Dragon doesn't.
I can't believe he doesn't A, have a favorite orc, B, know which one I'm talking about. John Orc, I guess. Yeah, you know, good old Johnny. Yeah, Johnny Orc.
What do they say in the credits? How many orc credits do we see?
Probably too few. They'd probably just list them all in stunt casting.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Just a bunch of New Zealanders dressed up like weirdos.
New Zealand. Which is true. They did film it out there for a good while.
They did film it out there. They did cast a lot of New Zealanders.
Yep. Man, could you imagine? I thought this was a party, guys. What are we doing here?
Actually, have you ever seen any
them.
of the behind the scenes tracks or content from the making of?
I don't know about the making of. I do recall seeing some of the fight between like Gandalf and Saruman. I remember seeing some of those with the green screens. But the one I vaguely remember, again, years ago, is the commentary playthrough that the cast had
sure.
done the voiceover commentary during the movie playing.
No, there's just a lot of behind the scenes footage of you'll see like the orcs and stuff just standing around and just talking normally, and they've all got New Zealand accents, and yeah, it's pretty funny.
Expected.
As
Who knew
expected,
that
as
orcs
one would
in Lord
expect.
of the Rings universe are New Zealanders?
Are just raged up weird New Zealanders. Who'da thunk?
We love New Zealand orcs, though.
Of course,
They're
yes.
Arguably some of the best orcs out there.
If you gotta be an orc, at least be the best orc.
There you go.
Props to New Zealand.
Dreams.
Now, another thing that I wanted to discuss, and this was something that Elliot reminded me of earlier when I was joking about cadet credit exchange rates, Dregn. So I think I've mentioned to you on another stream, and I don't think it's come up here on an official stream yet, is that we are putting together the makings of a brand new production station, as it were, a brand new PC for streaming.
Oh, you're going to pull it off, eh?
Oh, yes, we're going to pull it off. But, as I was joking about exchange rates with Ellie, we are in such a bad spot right now when it comes to the cost of graphics cards and other components. What with exchange rates, because we have the unfortunate condition of being Canadian, but also just, in general, it seems like they've been overpriced for a few years now on account of availability issues in the past few years, and that's sort of just bled into a new standard in terms of what you can get and can't get, more importantly, and what people are willing to pay and to charge for a lot of these graphics cards. We're at a point where, it's getting hard to justify some of the expense and choose what it is exactly we need for the kind of stuff we do around here. Kieran saying graphics cards are just insane. I know.
What are you guys looking at right now?
Ellie's seeing, I need to start doing similar, but sheesh, the prices. So actually, interestingly enough, I was thinking of just going for a cheaper option until I started seeing news over the past few days about the release of this
4K series?
No, the 4070 Ti is the rebranded version of what was going to be a slightly less powerful version of the 4080. And on paper, it's nice, but at the same time, it is quite expensive. And here's the thing, it's going to be going for what is in Canadian dollars close to like $1,200 to get brand new out of the box, which is steep. It's not great.
Steep. But you're looking at the 4K line.
Well, here's the thing. Comparatively, the 4080, which is like the, your premier, not quite top of the line, but, enthusiast model, going for close to $1,700, $1,800.
Yeah, so...
And then the 4090, which is your top of the line, well over $2,000. So that's something that I'm not even going to touch, is that I've never had a need for something that powerful. I don't anticipate that we're going to, get the most out of something like that. Because let's recall, we're still streaming and playing games and making animations and such on a GTX 1080 from almost 7 years ago.
Which I'm surprised you were able to do anything with.
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten mileage out of it. We're leveraging it as best as we can here.
All right. So having built my own computer for almost my entire adult life, actually no, I've never bought a made computer. I've always built my own. The current line, so currently if we're talking like 4K series, I wouldn't even bother touching. It's a big waste of money unless you have expendable income and you're living comfortably. It's overpriced, right? It's overpriced.
It's overpriced.
Absolutely. Also, I will forever, I think, be a fan of the 70 Ti edition of graphic card series, just because it is the best bang for your buck that I've ever experienced. And I've done the 1070 Ti, I've done the 2070 Ti, I've done the 3070 Ti, and I've tried the 2060, I've tried the 3060. The 70 Ti edition just is the sweet spot in my experience. So if you're not living super comfortable with expendable income, I would suggest go for the 3070 Ti. That's what I upgraded to recently since starting streaming, because much like you, I was using the 1070 Ti for a long time.
Okay, right.
Yeah, and then I started streaming, and then a buddy of mine got a new computer. He gave me his 2060, and I was like, this graphic card is an old piece of shit. It doesn't run properly. So then I bumped up to the 3070 Ti out of my pocket, and it's been clean ever since. So Ryzen 1060, I feel for you.
Really,
Ellie,
wow.
Ellie, how do you do anything on that? I don't understand how some people make that work. They say computers need to be replaced roughly every 4 years, and there's kind of a reason for that, especially with
I'm overdue for that. Yeah. So at the same time, here's the thing: I don't tend to make a whole lot of upgrades outside of complete rebuilds, so I would like something that's going to last for a few years.
Yeah, absolutely. The 3070 Ti, considering how, again, until I started streaming, I was using the 1070 Ti for years. The Ti edition lasts a while in my experience. So to anyone out there looking at graphics cards right now with the 4070 and whatever coming out, the previous ranges are going on discount to the proper prices they should have been at to begin with, right? So I would say look at the 3070 Ti is my recommendation, but each do your research.
You know what's wild though is that some of them just aren't. Yeah, some of them are just staying at these crazy costs, these crazy prices, and it's bizarre. It's hard to say last generation because the 40 series is so new, but the 30 series is not seeing a huge discount where I'm at.
Yeah, there's probably a bunch of people still expecting an influx of people.
They've held on to so many of them. They had, availability issues. I'm sure they're thinking, well, we'll try to get the most that we can out of this.
Yeah, but I'd say if you give it a couple months, I'm pretty sure the 3K series is going to start reducing in price. You'll start seeing a dip down. Plus, you do got to deal with your Canadian conversion.
The Canadianisms. Oh yes.
Here's an idea. If you're close to the borders, is it easier just to drive across the border, go to
sneak over and get one?
Yeah. Because I've met an Australian couple back when I was backpacking who would say that we come here, we buy a bunch of jeans, and then we fly back.
Jeans.
Yeah, because apparently the rates to get jeans in Australia are absurd. Allegedly,
they can't make denim in Australia.
They don't make denim anymore. Give me a break.
Goodness gracious. Well, no, here's the thing, is that when I say it's priced close to $1,200, that's the recommended sale price in Canadian dollars. So when they list the new 4070 Ti for, $799 in Canadian dollars, it's coming out close to $1,200. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because we got a pretty rough exchange rate at the moment.
As a lot of the world does, right? Sometimes it's not worth the gas to go over the border, huh?
And there's that, I suppose, yeah.
Wild, dude. You're running on a 9070 that fell from space. The memories.
9070 that fell from space, been serving me well for quite some time. That's why see, this is the thing. Zapiel's been a fully motion-ready model this whole time. We just haven't been able to appreciate it because he's been running on his old graphics card. It just looks like he's bobbing up and down.
That's hilarious. What do you guys mean? I have a live 2D. You can't tell? That's wild.
But yeah, I don't need 4K gaming or anything like that. I don't, get into any of that. I just need, something that's going to run, that's going to be able to handle more than a few concurrent tasks so that we can, stream and have the model look moving around and wibbling and wobbling while games are going on and we're participating with other people. And, it's nice to have other moving characters on screen, like animated dragon over here and stuff like that. So when we can get that to work, then that's great. So I don't need top of the line. I think the 70 Ti is probably where it's at. But do I want to go the old generation or the new generation? That's the thing. If I bring up, for example, right now, right here, right now.
Yeah, what are we looking at?
Let's see what we're looking at here. Let's just go with a big box store. We'll start here. I like to support the local computer sellers, but just for a benchmark, let's look at the big box stores here. So we've got the 3070 Ti versus the 4070 Ti, which is coming out real soon.
Yeah, what cat are we looking at here?
Okay, so the 4070 Ti, this is the brand new one that's supposed to release tomorrow, ranging from just under $1,200 to, depending on brand, close to $1,600. Canadian dollars, mind you.
This is the 30 or the 40?
This is the 40, so this is the brand new one.
That's actually seems affordable considering past GPU skyrocketed prices.
So yeah, that's right on or about on the recommended manufacturer sale price. And some of these versions are a little inflated because they're, boutique stamped manufacturers and what have you. The 3070 Ti, meanwhile, ranging from just over, over $800 to up to, again, $1,600. This is the thing. Like, you've got a generation behind that is priced as though it's, still top of the line. That's the issue at the moment. I would still argue, just with my sales knowledge, that they are expecting an influx of people to buy the previous generation, the old stuff.
The new one, is coming out. So if you wait a month, I'm sure that will normalize down to the 800, like the rest of them should, unless it's just they haven't updated their prices. If you're looking at like an eBay type of a user market, right? But yeah, I would say, I mean, if you go for the newest generation, I mean, that's like the expected price these days, as disgusting as it is. But that's also the, I guess, cost of the free market.
That's the cost of doing business.
Yeah. And Kieran here said, have you considered doing a pre-build?
Well,
personally, have you?
I've done pre-builds in the past, but for the cost of all the components that I'm putting together, going with something comparable pre-built is like adding on an extra $1,000, $1,500 just to have it all put together beforehand, effectively. Like, you're leaving money on the table there. It's nice to not have to worry about, doing something wrong, frying stuff and, getting the wrong incompatible stuff, but I'm pretty good at, checking all that stuff beforehand.
Oh boy, I got opinions about pre-builts.
Oh, do you? Wow.
Yeah.
Kieran says that was the only way I was able to get my 3070 Ti. Oh, I see.
That's part of the problem I have with it. So part of the reason why GPUs cost so much to buy independently is because all these damn pre-built organizations hoard them, and then they try to collect as much of the market share of it, or at least what's available on the market, and resell it essentially, right? Which is why, pre-builts are nice, but you build your computer twice. Yeah, it's a headache. Yeah, it feels like you don't know what you're doing, but there's a avid and super passionate internet community that you can find on Reddit. I'm sure you could find on Twitter.
No doubt.
Not that people on Twitter care, but
they'll tell you what you're doing wrong. Just give them the opportunity.
Yep. But there is a very passionate group of people who will help people build out their specs. So you just gotta go online, just start asking for some advice. You'll get the parts, you'll get the best budget. There's sites that help you budget out, the cost of the parts, and also ensure that you're buying parts that are compatible with one another.
Very important.
One of the mistakes I see with people putting together computers for the first time is that they don't realize that, oh, the motherboard has to be compatible with the CPU, and the motherboard has to be compatible with the RAM. So yeah, if you spend a little time doing research and just literally asking questions on the internet, like, people will do the work for you to build a computer. Like, they're that passionate about it. And you do that once or twice, you'll feel comfortable building a computer for the rest of your life.
And then you'll be unstoppable.
Exactly, unlimited power. So yeah, I really don't like pre-builts just because they are part of the problem that messed up the computer market.
That and crypto miners.
And crypto really just it's probably one of the reasons I'll never touch crypto is because
those jerks. They
ruined GPU prices forever.
They ruined Christmas.
They ruined my computer Christmas.
Kieran saying PC part picker is so nice to help people picking out parts. That's true. They do a lot of compatibility comparisons. That's right.
Yeah.
Using stuff like that, real easy. Also a ton of videos, of course. Yeah, super easy to learn. Get out there and try it yourself, folks.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, it'll be nice to have brand new stuff. I will probably. It's either going to be a high-end 30 series or that new 4070, depending on if I can get a good deal on it. And then we'll be set to go for another 5, 6, 7 years. Who knows?
Yep. I would say the 3070 will probably last a good 4 to 6 years, unless there's some massive advancement with the way games and software, how much resources they consume, right? I'd say that lasts you a good amount of time, and then
that's the thing, right? They're always making bad decisions with optimization and what have you.
Well, allegedly with Unreal 5, there's already a lot of baked-in optimization. So a part of me is actually expecting that GPUs would have a longer life expectancy thanks to some of like Unreal 5 and, in the future, hopefully any other development tools that include some built-in optimizing, because we all know how great developers in AAA is with optimizing these days.
No, that would be nice. No, yeah. I think you see so many developers that are just leaning on new tech as a crutch, just to keep bloating it with, unnecessary unoptimizations.
Yeah. Well, plus, the monetization store needs to take up some resources too, right?
Well, that's always going to be working. That's top priority.
Yeah. The unfortunate future we live in. You guys ready for Ready Player One IRL?
Yeah, fun stuff. Can't wait to see you all in what is that stupid thing called? What is the
Oasis?
The Oasis? Yeah, see you all there. Actually, you know what? Well, that's kind of one of the reasons that we really need to do this upgrade is, to circle around a conversation of 2023 goals. We've talked before about how we want to get into 3D modeling this year and working on a 3D Vector Spaceman model. And of course, trying to get that tracking going live concurrently with OBS and games and what have you is obviously going to be a lot more intensive than just running VTube Studio. So we're going to need something that can, stand up to the challenge. And why don't we give a big old shout out to Kohaku? How are you doing tonight? Who's just come in with a big old raid. Welcome to the Vector Spaceman Show, you guys. I am, of course, your host, Vector Spaceman, and we are in studio tonight with our good co-host, Mr. Dregn Durant. We're talking 2022, 2023, goals,
dreams, hobbies, all sorts of things.
Are you living your dreams, Dragon?
Yeah. How you doing, Kohaku? How many nuggies did you have today?
Big shout out to Kohaku. Let's go ahead and do that. We love to do little shout outs here. Make sure that you're following Kohaku, everybody. Fantastic fellow virtual streamer.
0. Man, Kohaku's chat, you guys are dropping the ball. How come Kohaku's had 0 nuggets today?
Those are rookie numbers, Kohaku. You got to get those up.
Yeah. We all know Kohaku's fueled by chicken nuggies.
Fueled by nuggets.
Yeah.
Man, are you really even Kohaku? That's a good question, Kieran. That's an excellent question.
Man. Are you good, Kohaku? Do we need to talk? Well, hope you're doing well.
Mm-hmm. Blink twice if everything's all right. Yeah.
Yeah. We eat sausages. All right.
All right.
They're made of the same thing, right?
And lots of ham-wiches? Ham-wiches. Okay.
Ham-wiches. Yeah.
British stuff, you guys. British stuff.
We can't say sandwiches in the Space Gang because we have our resident sandwich with us sometimes.
Oh, right. We have our sandwich hire. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we were just talking changes that we're making to the show and to the station and to the computational resources behind all of this.
So is it just GPU, or are you looking at a full upgrade? Because
Everything,
going from a 1070,
every single thing. Yep.
I was going to say, you probably need a bigger power supply if you've been used to the 1070.
Well, we don't have anything. Well, we got the 1080, but we don't have anything that can use fancy new DDR5 RAM.
Yeah, you got to get that. That sounds good.
So we got to get a new motherboard. We got to get I want to get a brand new fancy top of the line processor that's going to last us for years and years. That would be nice.
Nice. Very cool.
And then, yeah, I figured, you know what, we'll just get a new case, we'll get a new everything, and if we want to, we can use this old one that we're currently running to do, maybe, if the need should ever arise, to do some sort of multi-box streaming thing where we pass through video from one to the other to sort of lessen the load in terms of, we can just have one doing games and all visual stuff and the other one doing broadcasting.
Yeah, I've thought about that, but then I started running into the issue of table space, outlet space. Yeah, it's a tricky setup, but yeah, if you have the space in the studio, kind of studio space to make it happen, I see a lot of value with it.
But at the very least, we'll never have to pay for heating again.
That is true. Yeah, you'll be toasty all the time. You're gonna have to change your jacket for the next time too.
That's right. We'll have to let the zipper down a bit. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
We'll go sleeveless. That's what we'll do.
There you go. Get that Vector space vest out.
The 3.0, you guys. The 3D Vector Spaceman. The jacket's coming off. Ooh. I haven't actually given much thought as to if I want to do a whole costume redesign for that 3D endeavor, or if we just want to make it easy on us and try to replicate what we've got going. It's a good look. It's a decent look what we've got here, I think.
This is something I've thought about because in my first year, as we talked about earlier about kind of VTubers and the avenues they have to start and all that.
We love to talk about VTubers.
Yeah. I personally had just told myself before I even bother spending any more on model related assets, which is why I've gone the entire year without any upgrades,
or legs.
True. Which is if I want to stream, and again I'm on the YouTube side, so Twitch is irrelevancy for me.
Don't forget to follow Dregn on YouTube, you guys. There we go. Put it in the chat. Pop it in the chat there.
But live streaming doesn't really actually benefit the streamer on YouTube because the watch time on YouTube doesn't count towards the channel. It's only posted content, right? So uploads.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, if you miss a Dregn show, go check me out. That actually works out better than being there live unless you want to interact. But that said, I figured my priority, right, should be to figure out YouTube before I invest more in more augmentations and improvements. So
I see.
Yeah, because we all know how it is on Twitter and the VTuber sphere. There's that crippling addiction of getting fan art and all sorts of things, especially for those who are
I have seen that from a lot of people.
Yep. Fortunately, if you of you out there have the ability to kind of make your own, but for those that don't, you guys, the first step to recovery is admitting that you have a problem.
Dregn the art addict.
I'm not the one, though. I'm not the one.
The recovering art addict, then. There we go.
Recovering, please. Vector does me so dirty. He used to be so nice a year ago. I don't know what happened. He met a bunch of people. That's what happened.
That was 2022, Spaceman. This is 2023, Spaceman.
Yep. That's why you don't get to see his eyes. Just 1,000-yard stare that he has.
Just that void. Just that.
Yes.
That wide, orange, empty, soulless void.
The soulless void. But no, we see Vector here. He's so cheerful. Look at those great. No, actually, you're right. That's kind of creepy, Vector. Stop that.
Well, Dregn, it has been a pleasure having you on tonight, but I think we're about to wrap things up here. Apologies, of course, to the late arrivers with Kohaku, that little raid there. Not that we don't appreciate it, but we are going to keep things rolling and send you off for some more great content tonight. I think we're going to go and say hello to Pomato, who, of course, is continuing her partnership push over on her Twitch channel. We want to make sure that our friend gets into there.
Well, Vector, before we wrap it up completely, I do have one question for you.
I'd love to answer questions.
Yeah, so I mean, you touched a little bit about PC upgrades and potentially this 3D model, but I mean, and I've talked about this new AI series that I'm ready to drown under. But what's Vector doing in the coming months here? What can people expect?
Well, we are going to be attempting to put together one or two little shorts around Valentine's times, so within the next month or so. We're not going to be doing a big special like we did for Halloween or for Christmas, but we're going to try to put together some shorter form content, stuff that's a little more similar to the September 21st video that we did, if you recall that. And if you don't, why, that's something you can check out over on our YouTube page. Check it out and follow us on Twitter as well. You'll always stay up to date with all of our scheduling and Vector Spaceman related content.
Nice. Chat, do you remember?
Do you remember, though?
Do you, though?
But yeah, it'll be nice. We're going to try to get some people involved for that. It'll be fun. And our next big special will probably be coming sometime this spring or summer.
Fun. All right.
Fun. Animated content. Yeah, it's definitely still, what I consider to be our best content and what I'd like to do, what I really like to do here. Incorporating so many of our friends of the show, giving them little roles to play, giving them jokes to do, giving them situations to find themselves in. And it seems like people enjoy it, so we may as well keep doing it. It's fun to do. And who knows, maybe we'll even get Dregn up in there.
Maybe.
Just maybe. Just maybe.
Just maybe. Well, we're a fan over there on our channel, so good times.
Good times.
Well, thank you for having me, Vector. Always a pleasure. I love your studio. Let's do it again sometime.
Not at all. Well, we're definitely going to have Dregn back on in the future, you guys. And we're going to be looking to have some more guests on in the coming weeks and months. I think this is something that I'd like to do on a pretty regular basis. It seems like people enjoy the little chit-chat streams. It's nice to have folks that we, are more familiar with, like Dregn, that we can sort of ease into it with. But as we get the hang of things here, try to branch out, maybe bring on some more guests. Let us know if there's anybody you'd like to see on the show, or maybe you'd like to be on the show yourself. Let us know in the chat. I'm sure we'd love to have you. But as for now, Space Cadets, we are going to call it a night. So I would like to thank each and every one of you for tuning in tonight, wherever and whenever you are. You can join us again tomorrow. We're actually going to be on the Hivecore Minecraft server. We might even see Dregn and some familiar faces there as well. Until then, of course, no matter what life throws your way, good luck and Godspeed. This is Vector Spaceman and Dregn Durant signing off. Everybody, you have a great evening. We will catch you on the other side. So long, Space Cadets, and stick around for that raid, because we are about to send you off for some more great content for your evening. Say nice things to Tomato. We want her to succeed on her partnership push. Catch you later, everybody. Have a great night.
Wow.